What happens when the biggest rap beef of the decade doesn't end on the mic, but inside a courtroom? In 2024, Kendrick Lamar's Not Like Us hit like a cultural earthquake. It wasn't just a diss track, it was a worldwide anthem that topped charts, swept the Grammys, and even shook the Super Bowl stage. Fans and critics crowned Kendrick as the clear winner over Drake. But today, the beef is far from over. Because now Drake isn't dropping bars, he's filing lawsuits against his own label over Kendrick's track. This is the story of how Not Like Us turned into a Grammy-winning anthem, a lawsuit worth millions, and maybe the most controversial hip-hop feud of all time. And if you want more stories that peel back the curtain on music history, hit subscribe now. This is Legends and Lyrics, where the music lives on. This clash didn't start in 2024. Its roots stretch back to 2013, when Kendrick shocked the rap world with his verse on Big Sean's Control. He boldly called out Drake by name, among others, declaring himself the king and daring rivals to respond. Drake didn't fire back directly, but the tension was set. What followed was a decade of subliminals, sly lines, cryptic bars, and interviews that dripped with rivalry. Drake would sneak a jab on a feature. Kendrick would raise eyebrows in a guest verse. Neither ever admitted it outright, but fans knew exactly what was happening. It wasn't just competition, it was a cold war. Two titans circling each other, both aware that one day the gloves would have to come off. By the early 2020s, those tensions started flaring again. Kendrick had taken a break from releasing albums, and some wondered if he had faded from the spotlight. Drake, meanwhile, continued dominating charts and radio. That balance of power irritated Kendrick's core fans, who saw him as hip-hop's truth teller. Fast forward to 2024, and the fire reignited. Kendrick dropped Like That, a sharp, surgical track that felt aimed squarely at Drake's dominance. Drake snapped back with push-ups and Family Matters. Suddenly, what was once smoke became a wildfire, but nobody expected what Kendrick was about to unleash next. On May 4th, 2024, Kendrick Lamar dropped Not Like Us. It wasn't just another diss track, it was a West Coast anthem with teeth. Produced by Mustard, the beat was bouncy, sinister, and unmistakably Los Angeles. Kendrick's delivery was cold, mocking, and relentless. The lyrics hit Drake where it hurt most, questioning his authenticity, his ties to the culture, and even hinting at darker allegations. Kendrick didn't just attack Drake's music, he attacked his image, his legacy, and even the people around him. What made it even more powerful was the way fans embraced it. Kendrick's taunts turned into rallying cries. "They Not Like Us" was shouted in clubs, scrawled across memes, and eventually echoed in stadiums full of people who wanted to see the king of charts finally humbled. The artwork added fuel. It showed Drake's Toronto mansion pinned like a real estate registry map. It was bold, invasive, and deeply controversial. But it drove home Kendrick's message. This wasn't just personal, it was surgical. It was more than music. It was character assassination through rhythm and rhyme. And the world couldn't stop watching. Within hours, Not Like Us went viral. TikTok lit up with remixes, memes, and reaction videos. Spotify streams exploded, shattering first-day records. On Twitter, fans and artists alike declared Kendrick the victor. Then came the awards. The song didn't just trend for a week, it dominated for an entire year. At the 2025 Grammys, Not Like Us swept categories: Record of the Year, Song of the Year, Best Rap Song, Best Rap Performance, and Best Music Video. 5 trophies. Critics hailed it as one of the greatest diss tracks in hip-hop history. But the moment that truly cemented its place in history came at the Super Bowl halftime show. With over 100 million people watching worldwide, Kendrick performed Not Like Us in the biggest televised stage music has to offer. Fans described the performance as a cultural victory lap. The diss track wasn't just surviving, it was thriving at the center of American culture. For fans, it wasn't just entertainment, it was victory, broadcast live. But Drake wasn't about to let that stand. When the diss track stopped, Drake turned to a different weapon: the law. In late 2024, he filed a defamation lawsuit against his own label, Universal Music Group, UMG, accusing them of orchestrating a scheme to devalue his brand by aggressively promoting Not Like Us. By mid-2025, that lawsuit escalated. According to filings, Drake's team demanded unredacted copies of Kendrick's contract with UMG, hoping to prove the label sided with one artist at the expense of another. His lawyers also requested records tied to the Grammys and Super Bowl halftime show, arguing that UMG deliberately positioned Kendrick's diss track as a cultural weapon. This wasn't just about music anymore. It was about betrayal, a superstar turning on his own label, and the stakes were massive. UMG's CEO, Lucian Grange, fired back in court. He called Drake's allegations ridiculous and absurd, pointing out that UMG had invested hundreds of millions of dollars into Drake's career. From their perspective, Drake wasn't the victim. He was trying to rewrite history after losing a rap battle. In filings, UMG lawyers argued that diss tracks are part of hip-hop culture, exaggerated, artistic, and legally protected under free speech. Grange doubled down publicly, saying the lawsuit was nothing more than a groundless attempt to harass and intimidate. But in the discovery phase of the case, Drake's lawyers dug deeper, even asking for documents tied to old rumors, like allegations of domestic issues Kendrick was accused of in Drake's diss Family Matters. Speculation swirled. Was Drake trying to weaponize every possible angle, hoping something would stick? To many fans, the courtroom drama started looking uglier than the diss tracks. And this is where the story gets even more controversial. In hip-hop, lawsuits have always been taboo. Diss tracks, battles, and lyrical shots are part of the game. The unspoken code is that artists settle it on the mic. By taking his fight to court, critics said Drake broke that code. ABC News commentators put it bluntly: Kendrick out-strategized him. He embarrassed him. And now Drake's refusal to let go was giving the beef new staying power. On social media, fans mocked Drake as someone who lost the culture but won't accept it. Memes painted him as desperate, unable to handle defeat. Others defended him, saying reputations can't just be destroyed by false narratives. And if he believed the song damaged his image unfairly, he had the right to fight back. Still, the optics were rough. Kendrick performing Not Like Us to stadiums full of cheering fans, while Drake prepared his next album, Iceman, under the shadow of a lawsuit. One critic compared it to arguing with your boss in the parking lot before giving the biggest presentation of your career. So what's really driving this? Some analysts believe Drake's lawsuit is less about winning damages and more about leverage. If he can prove bias, it could give him bargaining power in renegotiating his label contract. Others speculate it's about salvaging his reputation, ensuring that the allegations in Not Like Us don't become permanent cultural memory. But speculation aside, one truth stands out. Nothing can erase the impact of the beef itself. Kendrick's victory wasn't just about words. It was about timing, strategy, and execution. He landed the right song at the right moment, and the world embraced it. Now the question is whether Drake can reclaim his image, or if this feud has permanently shifted the balance of power in hip-hop. From a single verse in 2013 to a Super Bowl performance in 2025, the Drake-Kendrick rivalry has become one of the most important chapters in rap history. It started with lyrics, exploded into culture, and now plays out in federal court. A diss track turned into a lawsuit, an anthem turned into a cultural weapon, and two rappers reshaped the way we think about authenticity, reputation, and power in hip-hop. So where does this leave the culture? Is Drake protecting himself, or proving Kendrick right by refusing to let go? Is Not Like Us just the biggest diss track of all time, or the moment that exposed how fragile the balance between art and industry really is? One thing is certain, this feud will be studied for years to come, not just as a battle between two superstars, but as a turning point in music history. Thanks for watching Legends in Lyrics, where the music lives on.